Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravana Chadi Jamuna Tiravana Chadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Gopi Janaballabha Girivada Dadi Gopi Janaballabha Girivada Dadi Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravana Chadi Jamuna Tiravana Chadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jayo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivijakacharya Astatara Srimad His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Gaura Premanandi. Class number 6, Chapter 3, the first half. And I don't think it's too good to do a review of everything, but a little bit where we've been. This is removing anartas, anarta nivritti section of the stages of bhakti. So Shraddha, and Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anarta Nivritti. So stage 4, chapter 3. Anarta Nivritti, or the third shower of nectar, Vrishti. Here is where it fits in the 2 verses. That's the subject matter of Madhurya Kadambini, Anarta Nivritti. So Adau, the beginning is Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anarta Nivritti, Syat. And we're hopefully headed towards Nishtha. Let's see if we can get there. Maybe not in this class, but that's the next class. Here's a translation of that verse. In the beginning, one must have a preliminary desire for self-realization. This will bring, we heard about how that comes about, past activities in association with devotees. Some sadhu became merciful and gave some association, and the accumulation of unknowing agyata sukriti. Here comes some faith in seeking for self-realization. This will bring one to the stage of trying to associate with persons who are spiritually elevated. In the next stage, one becomes initiated. That was pretty quick. By an elevated spiritual master, and under his instruction, the neophyte devotee begins. We discussed this. It's not like before you get initiated, you haven't even begun yet. We discussed it. By execution of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from all material attachment. It was also pretty quick. And attains steadiness, nishtha, in self-realization. We're going to see these terms, anishtata and nishtha. Here's Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his book, Bhajana Rahasya. He describes it this way. Due to bhakti sukriti, one gets shraddha, or faith in devotional shastra. Due to such shraddha, one easily obtains sadhu sangha. The result of sadhu sangha is bhajana shiksha, and along with such bhajana shiksha, one gets nam mantra diksha. Different language. It has a way of depicting. Similarly, this is nectar of instruction. Of course, we know who the author is, Rupa Goswami. If one is sincere, he is initiated, and this stage is called bhajana kriya. So Prabhupada's translation of that Rupa Goswami verse is similar to what's described here. Then one actually engages in the service of the Lord. By bhajana kriya, one gradually attains freedom from the contamination of materialistic life. Again, that's pretty quick. Although it says gradually. That's what we're on the topic of, anartha nivritti. So bhajana kriya, moved from this chart on one side is unsteady and the other side is steady. And there's some stuff in between. The stages from anishtata bhajana kriya to nishtata bhajana kriya, there's stages. This first comes the unsteady stage, and then anartha nivritti. We've just saying the same thing with a different chart, saying the same thing. Unwanted habits or anarthas from the heart. And then nishtha or nishtata bhakti. All that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. Almost completely destroyed. There's verses in the first canto Bhagavatam that indicate these two stages. It's a little small font, but just say the verse. Srinvata sukata Krishna Vanya Shravana Kirtana Ridyantaksto Yabhadrani Vidhunoti Suritsatam. Translation. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, or Super Soul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous, when properly heard and chanted. So this is the clearing stage, the anartha-nivritti stage. And this process is beginning but not yet completely destroyed. And then comes nishtita, which is the very next verse, text 18 from chapter 2. Nashtaprayeshu apadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtake. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So nishtha, nearly destroyed, nearly completely destroyed, but that's just because it's a stage. Keep going and it's completely destroyed. So it's the moving from anishtata to the nishtata, and in between, that's the anartha-nivritti. That's our topic. Both of these verses mention destroying inauspicious things in the heart, purifying the heart from unwanted material attraction. So, bhajana kriya at the bottom, anartha-nivritti in the middle, and nishtha. So there's some overlap from things that were mentioned earlier. Like, look at the lower right corner, Taranga Rangani. Remember that one? These are characteristics of unsteadiness that are addressed by bhajana kriya. So we're going to hear this word Taranga Rangani again because it finds itself in progressive stages up above, leading towards nishtha stage. We're not going to fully, at least during this class, we're not going to fully hear the description of nishtha. We're just going to hear the anartha-nivritti in between. Anarthas defined: anything that opposes or creates obstacles to paramartha, artha and paramartha, or the supreme spiritual attainment. Artha literally means something wanted. Commonly it means wealth, because most people want wealth. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha, artha, something wanted. But paramartha is not wealth, it's the supreme spiritual attainment. And anything that opposes it, that's unwanted. Nartha. This is Prema Bhakti Chandrika, Narottam Das Thakur. My greatest fear is that the obstacles to my devotional practice will not go away. But he has faith, so they certainly will go away. And this is a reference to a verse from the 11th canto. Pure devotional service rendered to the Supreme Lord, consisting of hearing, chanting, meditating, accepting it with faith, or praising others who perform it, immediately purifies even those who are envious of the Lord and the universe. So Narottam Das Thakur, speaking with humility as if he's one of us. There's the painting that goes along with this verse from 11th Canto, Chapter 2. We've seen this painting several times, but it's these instructions from the Navyogendras to Maharishi Nimi, covering 9 different topics. They're very important. Very important. And so references being made to them repeatedly. 4 categories of anarthas. Vishwanath writes, we will now explain anartha-nivritti, or cessation of unwanted elements, those that are unfavorable to bhakti. Anarthas are 4 types. Those arising from sin, those arising from past pious works, anarthas arising from offenses of various sorts, aparadota, and those arising from devotional service itself. So they may be a little confusing. How's anarthas arising from pious works and devotional service itself? How does that fit? We'll hear. Anarthas arising from sin are equivalent to the 5 kleshas mentioned in the previous chapter. Those arising from pious activities are the various kinds of sense enjoyments. You do pious activities, you do shubha, and you get the fruits of shubha. You get good fruits. You get the good fruits, then you want to become want to become the enjoyer of those good fruits. Anarthas arising from offense refers principally to nam-aparads, or offenses to the holy name, due to the principle of upalakshana. Upalakshana. You just name one thing, and a series of other things are following that one thing, and so you just say the one thing, and it implies the other things by identifying one and as part of a series. Upalakshana. Lakshana means characteristic, and upa means near. Upalakshana. So here we go, the categories. Anartha nivritti is the clearing of unwanted desires. Anarthas, this stage overlaps into many of the higher stages. So we're not done just because we've begun. From where do one's anarthas arise? Good question. 4 categories. We touched on these 4. Sinful activities, pious activities, bhakti successfully yet imperfectly performed, labha puja pratishta, we touched on this already, from offense. So main attention is going to go to offense and eradication of offense and the reactions to offense. Where's Gopinath? Didn't come. This was yesterday's question. Ooh. Is he watching online? Gopinath, pay attention to the end. So, anarthas arising from sinful activities. We've heard of this. You can remember it's connected with the kleshagni, the first of the 2 leaves. The bad effects of material attachment, such as envy, pride, anger, greed, lamentation, ignorance, attachment, which in turn cause various distresses or kleshas, are born from dushkriti, sinful activities. All these sufferings arise from impious deeds. So it's basically the same. The impious deeds are the sinful activities. They give rise to anarthas. And we already heard this term already, hridaya dorbalyam, weakness of heart. Though the effect is one's heart becomes weak, that your spiritual conviction becomes weakened. And spiritual, this hridaya dorbalyam has its 4 categories. We saw these already. Attracted to insignificant things, deceiving or pretense, kutinati, matsarya, envy, sva, pratishta, self-importance, pratishta, swa, pratishta, desire for name, fame, and position. So those are categories of When weakness of heart prevails, these four make a stronger appearance. Arising from sinful activities. The three other anarthas are byproducts of this one. Or, the Kutinati, Matsarya, those three are produced, or the byproducts of, being attracted to insignificant things. Like your mother said, Neha. I remember that conversation. Were you there when she was saying these things? My attraction for Krishna and my attraction for...
I was listening back and actually heard the recording today.
Okay. Attracted. So it makes the heart weak. When the heart is weak, it's hard to make wise decisions. Somehow she made a good, wise decision. And from that, insignificant things, attraction comes the other. Deceiving, envy, desire for name, fame, position, like domino effect, or cause and the effect. Now, anarthas arising from pious deeds. Now, we touched on this. It just means non-spiritual things. I have a desire to enjoy non-spiritual things. From my pious activities, there's gross material things, there's subtle material things, like attaining the fruits of piety or heavenly existence, mystic yoga, even types of liberation. There's more subtle. But this starts with just gross material things and a thirst for them. And so that Trishna, or thirst, drives one, it compels one. And one's whole life can be made up of any one of these, or gradually moving from one to the next. Pious deeds. So the answer is not don't do pious deeds because you may have a problem. That's not the answer. But as you do things, as you engage in devotional service, these fruits are going to come. That's another category. Craving for temporary sensual pleasure is also a detrimental desire for the heart. This is Hridaya Dorbalyam, which is an anartha stemming from pious activities, Sukriti. Jana Sukritin Arjuna. Pious deeds facilitate enjoyment of the senses. So it doesn't have to, but that's the facilities come, and some persons engage in ritualistic activities because the inspiration is, the motivation is, I'll get some good punya points. And with punya points, I'll get prosperity in this life and the next. So let's do lots and lots and lots and lots of pious activities because I want to be an enjoyer of the pious activities. It doesn't have to be like that, but it can be like that. And that's an anartha that arises from pious deeds. So more addiction to enjoying the results of pious deeds, enjoying sattva-guna things, desire for liberation. Sometimes anarthas arising from pious deeds are listed under the heading of kleshas, suffering. Here's a nice verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. As long as the witch, Pishachi, of longing for bhukti and mukti occupies the heart of an individual, how can the supreme delight and joy of bhakti spring in that heart? There's a nice story. There's the nice story, one of many nice stories, is one time there was a very elevated Vaishnava who came to visit Vrindavan, and he made friendship with Rupa Goswami, and Rupa Goswami, appreciating this great Vaishnava, he asked him, could you read my writing, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and see if you find some mistake? So, sure. And some time passed, and they were having further discussion. Jiva Goswami happened to be there, and this other Acharya, Vallabhacharya, said, this language is a little strong. To have a desire for mukti is compared to a witch. You might want to find another word besides pishachi. Jiva Goswami heard. So then it was time to take their midday bath. So off the two went. Jiva Goswami chewed on his ear all the way to the river Jamuna and back, saying, it was the perfect word. And here's why it's a perfect word, because of this answer. Because bhakti doesn't spring in the heart of one who wants mukti. Bhakti means engaging the senses in the service of the master of the senses. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. So one gets liberation. You have no longer a material form. So how is it that not a witch? You can't serve Krishna. The cause that you can't serve Krishna anymore. Are you doing okay? You sure? Okay. There she is, the Miss Witch. So when he got back, this Acharya, Vallabhacharya, said, your disciple, Jiva, he's really sharp. And, he scolded me. But he was right. And Rupa Goswami didn't at that time, but at a later point in time, pulled Jiva Goswami to the side and, what kind of Vaishnava spirit is this? He's an elevated personality, and you don't speak to him like this, and you have no place in Vrindavan. Leave Vrindavan. Ooh. You know that story? So Jiva Goswami, being obedient to his spiritual master, he went in the direction of Mathura and found an alligator hole in the bank of the river Jamuna and started living in that alligator hole. And all he had to eat was mud from the alligator hole. And Sanatana Goswami noticed he was missing. So he inquired what happened to Jiva. He was told by Rupa to leave. So he did. Where'd he go? He went that way. So along the bank of the river Jamuna, and he found Jiva Goswami, who was really sick, eating only mud. So he coached him out of that alligator hole and brought him back, not seen by Rupa. The way the story goes, he asked Rupa, Sanatan, the elder brother, asked Rupa, the younger brother, according to the teachings of Mahaprabhu, what's the greatest quality of a Vaishnava? Jivadaya. Oh, very good. Here's one Jiva. Show your daya to him. That's a nice story. Over this verse. Pishachi. This is not directly in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's writing, because the introduction to 8th Canto, Chapter 3 wasn't printed yet. So this is an add-on. From the introduction of Gajendra Moksha Leela, by his causeless mercy, the Lord can rescue the conditioned soul from the material clutches and enable him to return home back to Godhead, to become his personal associate. Nonetheless, a pure devotee does not aspire to go back to Godhead. He is simply satisfied with executing his service in this material world. A pure devotee does not ask anything from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His only prayer is to be freed from the material conception of life and to be engaged in the Lord's transcendental loving service. So Gajendra got more than liberation. He got liberation, but he got more than liberation. Just a little sharing, because I just, at 6:30 this morning, I was on a call with the China devotees, and one of the topics we were discussing was how important it is to have proper sambandha gyan, and have a proper conception of what bhakti is, and the proper conception of what the goal of bhakti is. Supposing one doesn't have that same conception, so the reference was in Madhvacharya's writings, he sees a distinction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't see. So, the Dvaitavad. Those of you that have been around a while, you know what that means. 2, Dvaitavad. So there's Pancha Dvaitas, or Pancha Vedas, 5 categories of distinction. So because of that categorical distinction, then there isn't seeing the connection of all things in relation to the Supreme, because they're 2 distinct entities. Now, certainly, Madhvacharya is a Vaishnava, and a Vaishnava understands what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate. Everything comes from him. So if everything comes from him, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was emphasizing both the oneness and difference. And Madhvacharya is emphasizing the difference. So because of that difference of conception, then there is a desire in the followers of Madhvacharya and in his teachings to go back to Godhead, or to achieve moksha, or the abode of the personality of Godhead in Vaikuntha. That's the aspiration. And the Vaishnava, as described here, he doesn't have that aspiration. Why not? Because he's already on the liberated platform. That's why not. He's already on the liberated platform. He doesn't need to aspire for liberation. Rather, he wants simply to be engaged in loving service. So that's an important distinction. That's a little detour. And pious activities, here's Narada Muni seeing the 2 sons of Kuvera, the treasure of heaven, frolicking in a holy river with naked ladies. And they were so intoxicated, drunk, that they didn't even recognize that they were naked. So here's what Narada has to say. These 2 young men, Nalakuvara and Manigriva, are by fortune the sons of the great demigod Kuvera, but because of false prestige of wealth and birth, they are so fallen that they are naked but cannot understand that they are. All right, you want to be naked, you can stand as trees, naked trees, in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, and be delivered, the twin Yamala Arjun trees. So Krishna knew that and knocked him over as a little boy. So again, the same anarthas arising from devotional service. So it may come, similar to piety, there may be the fruits of successfully performing devotional service. So here it comes. There may be some wealth, there may be some worship, maybe some respect. Lava puja pratishta. So it's not that don't be successful in devotional service, because fruits of devotional service may come. But don't be very cautious about the enjoying spirit. So again, this is reference to the Taranga Rangani phrase. In the very, very beginning, there were the immature stages of bhakti, and that was number 6 out of the 6 immature stages, and the anishtata bhakti stage of Taranga Rangani, enjoying the fruits of one's devotional activity. And this is the remedy. Trinadapi sadichena, daror api sahishnana, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. This screen is really good. The colors are really bright. Compliments. Golden form of Lord Chaitanya and the throngs of devotees behind him. So, by proper chanting in this mood, then Kirtaniya Sadahari, one can really develop a proper taste. Anarthas arising from devotional service not properly performed. If not curbed, additional consequence is, we heard this one last evening. No. When was it? It was midday. Yeah. Tattva Vibrahma, mistakes of philosophy. Here's some categories. Mistaking the Supreme Lord to be somebody else. Mistaking the Jiva to be God. It's sadhana, making mistake in proper sadhana. Making mistake in knowing what the goal is. Tattva Vibrahma. This was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's contribution. Finally, of the 4, anarthas arising from aparad. So this is going to get a lot of attention. This is where Gopinath, pay attention, please. Aparads, hatred towards devotional service. Here's why that term. Nam aparad, Seva aparad, Vaishnava aparad, Jiva aparad. We saw this list already. The most stubborn obstructions on the path of pure devotional are caused by aparads, the anarthas that arise from aparads, unwanted desires arising from aparad. So it's good to know what they are. And there was supposed to have been a PDF that you should have received describing further some detail on the Seva aparad category. So anarthas arising from aparad, some lessons. It's only going to generate new anarthas when deliberately done. So don't deliberately do. Padapurana mentions 32 kinds, and Varaha Purana, you have the PDF with that list. It's intimidating. The primary culprit within this category of anarthas is namaparad, because from the namaparad comes the other ones. Nama, this is this upalakshana term again. By one thing, you infer the other things of that series. Nama, in this case, indicates or represents all 9 limbs of bhakti. To say namaparad, it means all 9, but it's saying just one, because while the offense of each of the 9 limbs, bhakti results of anarthas, the primary anga, is Nama. Here's this same 11th canto, chapter 2 section of the Bhagavatam. One who accepts this process of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead will never blunder on his path in this world, even if he intentionally closes his eyes and runs. He'll never fall or stumble. Don't try it. What's the meaning? The meaning is, by being so enthusiastic in devotional service, you may neglect one of the limbs or the details of what devotional service should be, what devotional service shouldn't be. You may mess up due to bhakti out of enthusiasm, not, I'm because I'm an elevated devotee, I don't have to do stuff anymore. Not that kind of reasoning. Sridhar Swami, closing the eyes and running while eagerly pursuing the goal does not result in aparad. Here's a nice example. That's Sridhar Swami's illustration. A nice example. This lady that got on the shoulders of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because the crowd in Jagannath Temple was too big. So she stood on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's shoulders holding onto the Garuda Stamba, and Govinda, his servant, is telling the lady, get down. And Lord Chaitanya said, no. You know the story. This is very nice. If I only had the enthusiasm that this lady has, my life would become perfect. So in her enthusiasm, standing on someone's shoulders, standing on the shoulders of a sannyasi, putting one's feet on the body of a sannyasi before the deity, 3 strikes and you're out. But it's not an offense. So therefore we hear only intentionally. So let's see some of this further description. In the categories of namabhas, this is not namaparad, but this is abhas. So a type of abhas is indirectly or unintentionally saying of the name of the Lord, but not meaning the Lord. So the Jamila story is one. Another example is the Yavana. When they have danger, I don't know the detail, but haram, they're mentioning the Lord's name, but they're not doing that to glorify the Lord. Or parihasa is the joking of Jarasandha. What's the example of joking of Jarasandha? When Krishna was running from the battlefield after defeating Jarasandha so many times, when Krishna ran from the battlefield, why did he run from the battlefield? There's a very simple answer. Huh? Yeah, it was time to marry Rukmini. I'm getting out of here. So I had some fun with Balaram. They went up a mountain, jumped off the mountain, got in a chariot, went off to marry Rukmini after defeating him so many times. So in a joking manner, he was calling Krishna's name, making fun of him. Shishupal in derision. Hela, disregard. Inattention. We know that one. This is Abbas. So Sanketa Namabas as an example. Here's the verse. In great fervor, the forest dacoits proclaimed raucously, Vane Charama, Vasu Chaharama, Nandim's Tarama. Thus, even the forest-dwelling dacoits attained liberation by their constant contact with the name Rama. That's right from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's writings. Or the joking, there it is, Jarasandha attacked the Yadavas in Mathura 17 times. Krishna defeated him completely, leaving one person standing on the battlefield alone, Jarasandha. 17 times. Each time he brought back more Akrohini divisions. Each time Krishna defeated him. You can go home now. But then the 18th time, Krishna ran. So that's where he was making fun of Krishna. 23 Akrohini divisions of soldiers. Scorn or derision, Shishupal. And Shishupal was speaking so nasty about Krishna, the Bhima had his club ready to smash him. And Krishna held up his hand and said, no. And when he got to a certain number of offenses against Krishna, Krishna just zapped him with his Sudarshan chakra. And the speaking part of Shishupal's body was separated from the rest. Disregard. And I think I know who that devotee is too. I'm not going to say his name. So this is anarthas arising from aparad. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita Krishna Das Kaviraj. If one's heart does not change, tears do not flow from his eyes, his body does not shiver, and his bodily hairs do not stand on end, as he chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it should be understood that his heart is as hard as iron. This is due to his offenses at the lotus feet of the Lord's holy name. I mean, I couldn't stay for the whole of Madhava's kirtan, but I had been a participant in his kirtans before, and what I said before I didn't know he was in the room, but I said things about him that, his bhakti, his style is different than others, like Badahari and Jandavi Harrison and others. Style is different, but his bhakti is very powerful. Anyway. Here's the declension or the etymology of aparada. Apa, that which drives away, and radha, one's desire for perfection. So aparadha has a root, and that's disrespect. Anadara is found directly in Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Instruction also. Disrespect. Anadara. Inattention is a type of disrespect and is the root of the other offenses to the holy name. This whole presentation, multi-part presentation on respect, has the opposite is disrespect, anadara. The lack of respect is a type of disrespect, or inattention is a type of disrespect, and is the root to the other offenses. So namaparad, want to take care of this? Gopinath, I hope you're attention. Please be respectful to the holy name. The root cause of aparadas is anadara. This is Bhakti Sandarbha. All varieties of aparadas consist of anadara. What to do? What's the remedy? There's adarad, right in Rupa Goswami's writings. Anudinam. The holy name, character, pastimes and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet, like sugar candy, although the tongue of one afflicted by jaundice, of avidya, cannot taste anything sweet. It is wonderful that simply by adarad, that's the positive, carefully chanting every day, a natural relish awakens with his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. Text 7. So, anadarat and adarad, carefully and neglectfully. And is in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, same idea. There's one of the procedures that's recommended in Hari Bhakti Vilas when chanting mantra is meditate on the meaning of the mantra. So of course here, but also the mind can meditate on, it's because it's a function of the mind, meditating on the meaning of the mantra. Mantrartha Chintamani. Patanjali, he has the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, and in these verses 1 through 23, he has a description of meditative absorption, and one of the principles is number 14 out of this list. This is what abhyasa or practice means. There's his definition of what practice means. It has 3 parts. Practice or abhyasa becomes firmly established when 3 things. It has been cultivated uninterruptedly, nairantarya, with respect, reverence, and devotion, satkara, for a long period of time, dirghakala. It's good. What he says is in relation to Ashtanga Yoga, but the same applies to our meditation process in bhakti. Uninterrupted for a long period of time with devotion or satkara or faith. There we are. Surprise. So in the next section, we're going to hear further how getting closer and closer, the more subtle obstacles to get to achieve nishtha or nishtata bhakti. Kabe habi bolo se dinamar. Oh, I didn't see you sitting back there. You made the right choice. Good. Any discussion?
Question for Maharaj.
Yeah.
We have the slide of the 4 apparatus. I couldn't help but notice that Guru apparatus wasn't present.
Oh.
I said that was one of the worst we could commit.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not there. It's, it's Vaishnava aparad, it's a particular category of Vaishnava aparad. Why it's not in its own category, I don't know. Ask Vishwanath. Yes. Varsana, pass it back.
One of the consequences of anartha arising from pious deeds, it said, was liberation, wanting liberation.
Yes.
Amongst other
Mode of
things.
goodness. Mode of goodness wanting.
So this this thought arose in me of some time back that liberation still seems a concept that's fuzzy and it's out there. I still don't get it. But in general, liberation, it seems, can we say that liberation means wanting or desire to be free from?
Yes, I want out of here. This place is crazy.
But it can it percolate into our lives in smaller things? Like I want to be free from, this distress, or I want to be free from.
That behind that one is, I want to be free from this misery, but I want enjoyment. That's still squarely on the material side. And it's not like wrong. It's human,
Right.
natural.
Yes, so that's what I wanted to confirm it, that it, even though it's a concept that, I want to be out of the cycle of birth and death, but in our daily life, it shows up as, I wish I led a better life or this or that. And so that would be a big...
What you're saying is augmented or underlined by Jiva Goswami in this way. It's a teaching I like very much. The beginning of Priti Sandarbha, the first line is, without exception, all humans want enjoyment and diminishing of suffering. Both. And then he writes in the same first line, the only means to achieve that perfectly is by priti for Lord Vishnu. Vishnu priti or Krishna priti. That kind, because otherwise it's not going to be satisfying, and it's going to lead to another position, another position, another position, because it's not the final position. Even if I attain it. So it's just is saying in other language the same thing you're saying. But I like his language. It's not like I don't like yours, but I like his. Because he's pointing to the affection for the Supreme Person. That is the only way that these two desires can, because otherwise these two desires aren't going to be met. And when they're met, because priti has been established, one isn't hankering for liberation. Thank you. Okay. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Very happy to see the last slide, end of Anardha Nivritti. Thank you so much for spending and giving us your association and helping us to deepen our connection in the process of bhakti. Guru Maharaj, that anadara, lack of respect or disrespect as a root of all aparadhas, I was thinking, as we keep hearing about the consequences of Vaishnava aparad, I think there is some willingness to consciously cultivate that respect for the devotees. While when things seemingly go fine, I'm able to keep that respect. When there are situations, even when we are trying to do the service, I may have a certain plan, I want to do the service in this way or that way. When that's being questioned, then that respect, I feel, I may not be able to display that respect because something else, my personal plan or my personal something is getting impacted there. Just wanted to hear from you, even in those agitating situations, how can we keep that respect as a core of our...
Oh, it's easy. What's the basis of that respect at its core? Let's go back to the fundamental teaching of Kapila Dev, super soul, my worshipable supreme is situated in the heart of every living entity. That's the basis. And if I forget that, I've forgotten Krishna. I can't feel some ill feeling towards this person or the situation when I'm so that the grounding is the super soul, the jiva, and the super soul. So the jiva makes mistakes and super soul doesn't make mistakes. He can sanction. The jiva can't do stuff without sanction. But this is something that's fundamental. Now, supposing I don't have that, then I feel this uncomfortable feeling, to say the least, or say something, do something, or retaliate or something. Each of these are kinds of disrespect. So the respect stays because of super soul. Now, that's in the life of Srila Prabhupada. He had the credential, he had the capacity to evaluate and the credential to speak against foolishness. I mean, I just finished hearing a narration of Srila Prabhupada visiting. He was in Delhi. He had just recovered from like an extended multi-weeks severe illness. And he had gone to Delhi from Vrindavan. And then when he reached Delhi, he got an invitation to go to Rishikesh. No, excuse me. Kurukshetra. And there was a conference of sadhus in Kurukshetra, and he was invited to be a participant. He said, no. And then he went, and he exploded. Because they weren't speaking about Krishna. They're speaking in platitudes. So, and he let him have it in Hindi. So anyway, and then on the way back, he was, appreciating that how he blasted them. Because they had no right to speak Bhagavad Gita in Kurukshetra with no reference to Krishna. And it's just backpatting each other towards whatever their program was, building a temple or something, bringing a name for themselves as a sadhu with no Krishna in Krishna Kurukshetra. So, as an example, one who has the credential, as Prabhupada had, he can chastise, and it's appropriate that he chastise. If we don't have that position or capacity, then we don't chastise, but we don't disrespect. So it wasn't the soul that Prabhupada was disrespecting; it was the behavior, the cheating behavior, and self-serving behavior, and neglecting Krishna behavior. That was behind whenever Prabhupada was extreme. I remember very clearly when Prabhupada was pursuing the particular property in Juhu, when there were so many obstacles, persons couldn't understand what was the motivation. Why was Prabhupada doing that? There's so many pieces of land, and he just, then Prabhupada disclosed it in private, at least, in one case, because the deity was already there, and Mr. Nair was wanting to kick him off the property. Like, I'm above Krishna, get off my property, although it was under contract, and the law had been met. He wanted Krishna off his property. I couldn't stand it, because it was not him. So So an answer to your question is, it's not your plan, something. It's, if someone is offending Krishna, that's one thing. And if there's a discussion about what's the best plan, Vaishnavas discuss what's the best plan. And, very willingly share ideas. And then we let Krishna decide, not me because I'm me. Yeah. All the way back.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. When today's PDF was sent for the Seva Aparadh, when I was reading that, I just have a question from.
Okay.
It was saying that when we do Aparadh, it leads to Nama Aparadh. And my question was, do all kinds of Aparadhs lead to Nama Aparadh? Because.
Well, it's not. Go finish your sentence. Go ahead.
Okay.
Because
my taste for the Nama is so dependent. I've been observing for the past month, so dependent upon how I am feeling mentally. If any disturbance has happened, argument has happened,
Yes.
or anything. So so I'm like, all the aparadha, so I'm really trying to connect to my Nama. So I'm really trying to understand what is blocking me.
Oh. You got beans in your ears. That's what's blocking. Maharaj, could you explain that? Simple. Really simple. Really simple. Super simple. If you hear, I mentioned it before Madhava, that little talk for the Sunday program. Prabhupada, someone coming to Prabhupada, when I'm chanting, my mind is so disturbed. Remember? Prabhupada's answer, what is the problem? Just hear. Because if you're just hearing, ear conquers the mind. So there's no problem. What's the problem? The problem is, it's not the mind. You're paying too much attention to your mind. And your mind is going to be the barometer for how you experiencing Nama. You're on a roller coaster. So, and what to do? That's why, then what to do? Here. Then comes, but my mind. Because there's circumstance and my mind is disturbed and on the circumstance. When is there not a disturbing circumstance? Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. It's by design. So that's why and what to do. Hear. On the order to hear, because that's when the disturbance is and your experience of the holy name, the disturbance goes away because you're hearing. And that's your relationship with the name. The satisfaction of heart is when you're hearing, and not which way the wind is blowing. What do you think? Go ahead. Go further.
Maharaj, I've heard you say this in the japa retreats also about hearing.
Good.
So I have been trying to hear, but
But
it doesn't happen for more than half a round or
well, you're lucky. Most of us doesn't happen for half a syllable. I'm not. It's. Everyone's laughing, but it's true for all of us. It's true. So you're very fortunate.
no. So I don't know how to put it, but I'm wondering if all this is happening because of the impact of all the aparadhas that I keep committing.
You've been listening to class. That's exactly what it says.
Yeah.
I'm going to read something. Maybe you'll feel better. Maybe you won't. I don't know. I mentioned this in Gita Nagari, and I sent this today to Parma Karuna, who was not like, he was a little bit crying on my shoulder about his inability to chant more than 16 rounds and how he chants his 16 rounds. So this is what I sent to him. From a devotee in China, nice devotee. I don't know which switch suddenly flipped today, but after finishing my daily 16 rounds of chanting, I felt a spontaneous urge to keep chanting. I ended up chanting the whole day, and I could feel a kind of energy flowing up and down through my body with a sweet taste to it. Once I stopped, I realized how mundane life feels without chanting. I'm just worried what's going to happen tomorrow. So, if you chant, what to do? We're in Krishna's hands. And isn't it true? He can do with us what he likes. Even if we don't say you can do with us what you like. He can do with us what he likes. Until we want to show him not just a smiling face, but we want to show him this, as far as possible, consistent aspiration that we striving with effort and mercy, we strive for shelter. And he can do with us what he likes. And when he sees a consistent striving, he can examine us, how strong, how sincere, but when he wants, he can pull back the curtain, he can close the curtain again. He can do with us what he likes. That's life, that's reality. No, the spiritual reality for people that are not spiritual reality people, we're silly. We're sentimentalists. But, so what to do? This young devotee in China, what are they going to do tomorrow? The same as every other day. And wait for that Krishna to pull the curtain back. But at least now they have this experience that there's something very, very special about having a connection with the holy name. That's mercy. What's entitled to... I know this devotee very well, and they make mistakes. And sometimes. They sometimes speak harshly, and sometimes they have, horrible relationships with a devotee, and then later realize they did something. So anyway, they're human. But they're very sincere. And so Krishna can pull back the curtain, no problem. So what do you do? What does any one of us do? We go on, like, Mother Yasoda trying to bind Krishna. The effort. And Krishna sees the effort, and Krishna can allow himself to be bound, withdraw, and extend. It's a relationship. And the relationship with the name. And it's we have to have faith. And as I read yesterday, Bhaktisiddhanta saying it's true, a human being doesn't have the capacity, the binary processor mind doesn't have the capacity to realize and understand Krishna and his name are now different. But we have to have faith. And when there's faith, then there can be some experience, more or less. And then, we want to show Krishna that we want to be connected. So, and then that's our effort. And Krishna can do what he wants. But he's a loving person, so that was when I forwarded this to Paramarupa, not Paramarupa, Paramakaruna. I said, just wait for Krishna to give you a sign when you can be do more than your 16 rounds. So what sign? It's up to Krishna. Then I sent him this one. He didn't announce, I'm going to do like this, and because you want it, I'm going to do it, because I'm going to do as you want it. Yes. He does what he wants. And that's our relationship. And we just serve. And he's loving. Isn't it? It's like you and your grandson. Because you're a loving grandmother, he wants your affection. And you're ready to give your affection, no problem. And he wants to run around, and you let him run around. It's a relationship. And relationship with Krishna is like that. Okay? Don't be uncomfortable. Be very comfortable. He's a very loving master. And his primary access, he has given primary access to him through his name. Just call his name and he's there. So be present with, that was that little message. Be present and know I'm here. It's very simple. The mind is the complicated one. You're okay for the next 5 minutes. Huh?
Right now, the only thought going through my head is Krishna, Shiv
Okay. Okay. Microphone up front.
It's quite intimidating looking at this long list of anarthas.
Yeah, there's more coming.
And I've often heard you instruct, don't be anartha conscious, be Krishna conscious.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if you will be willing to elaborate on some parameters we can use to judge that we are placing the horse before the cart. And I'm specifically asking this question because I'm dedicating a lot of my life to studying and teaching some how-to processes which can assist us in addressing anarthas in our heart. So that's where my question is coming from.
I'm a simple guy. When questions like this come, my response is a simple one. And a simple one is, Who's at the center? And just ask that question, and you get an answer. Krishna's in the picture, but I'm at the center. And I've become quite accustomed to that picture. And although it's not satisfying, I become quite accustomed to that picture. And so like this unsteadiness, going back down to Kleshagni, being unable to uphold my will when I want to do something that's going to improve, or being unable to uphold my will when I want to get rid of something that's interfering. It's an impediment. And again, it's just all these terminologies, Hridaya Dorbalyam. So it's who's at the center. So bhakti is very clear. It's from the get-go, by definition of what bhakti is. It's Krishna Anushilana. That's it. And so you again and again and again, however many times again, put Krishna at the center. The pleasure of Krishna is it. Like this, other discussion. He can do with me what he likes. And if I have some indication what he likes, I got my sleeves rolled up ready to do what he likes. Without condition, to my capacity. And that's my life. And he can do with me what he likes. So that's dasya. It's the beginning. It's the beginning stage of that relationship of love. That he's the master, I'm the servant. That's it. So, and the Bhagavatam teaches the same, and our acharyas teach the same, and those who teach by example teach the same. So let me become a one who respects those who teach by example, and learn by that become strong enough to follow their example. Yeah, one more. You have one more. Go ahead.
Guru Maharaj, you were explaining that if one is enthusiastic and one commits offenses, the example of the lady standing on Lord Chaitanya, then that is not counted as an offense.
That's right.
And in previous classes, we were hearing about the Utsahamai stage. Will you please?
You want to hear the difference?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
It's genuine and not imitative. I want to say one other thing, because I've been listening to these recordings that you sent me of Shrutakirti's writings. As you know, this, for those of you that don't know, his style is, he has, many hundred chapters, and each chapter is really mini. And at the end of each chapter, he consistently offers a prayer. Lifetime after lifetime, my only desire, please, so he's groveling at Prabhupada's feet, not asking for liberation, just asking for the ability to remember and be in his service, and lifetime after lifetime. And it's not a literary clever trick. It's him. It's his heart. Consistently. So, Prabhupada's at the center. Yes, by his own acknowledgement, some mistakes and some other desires but it's very, what his heart is very clear. Very elevated personality by Prabhupada's mercy. as he's writing, I can almost hear him crying in his heart, appealing for that opportunity once again. May that memory never leave me. May your kindness to me always be the guiding principle, and again and again. And how loving was Prabhupada. And, and loving included chastising strongly. But Rutikirti didn't get upset. He understood that this is his loving way, because he never brought it up again later. It was for purification. So it's a relationship of love. And how fortunate to have that object, and so that's our life, to come to that stage. Anyway, you have something.
Could you go to the slide where you showed us the Nama Bhas, the Hela, Stoba, and
I don't know where it is. This one?
okay, yes. So the question is, we hear that, when we recite the 10 offenses, we say inattentiveness is the root of offensive chanting, that is Nama Aparad. And I've also heard from you that striving to chant attentively would be Nama Bhas. So is this
striving to chant attentively is Namabhas?
Yes.
I said that, huh? What did he mean when he said that? Do you remember the context?
Sorry to put you in
The context.
Whenever you describe Namabhas Maharaj, the intention of trying to chant, even though you're not chanting purely or attentively, you're striving to chant attentively, is the Namabhas, or the clearing stage.
Oh. Okay.
So the
That's the
question.
context.
Yes. So the inattention. The question is, how can inattention this
Look at
slide?
this guy. He's not striving anything.
So how is that in the Nama Bhas stage and non-Nama Parad?
Because he look at him. He's got his bead bag in one hand, and his attention is not in his bead bag in his one hand. Oh, it's the object of distraction in his hand, in the left hand.
Right, but
It's not striving.
so it should be Nama Parad, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's your point. Oh, I'm slow.
Sorry, I wasn't clear.
Yes, Namaparad. Yeah, you're not striving. Okay. Touche. I surrender.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare
All glories
Krishna.
to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for conducting this Madhurya Kadambini sessions for us. It's really has been enlightening experience for me to hear your lectures. From today's class, I have one question about how we say that the root of all causes is this another, or the disrespect to the holy name. And my question is, how do you explain this to a child? Because
How do you explain it to?
To a child.
To a child.
I'm trying to have my kids chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantras, and then I've noticed my younger one especially, he'll do it, but he's playing around and chanting. So I don't know what's the right approach.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Even if I'm telling him,
Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you, Maharaj.
The method, the best method is your own personal example. Not just while chanting, but your personal example of life, your lifestyle, your manner, your gentleness, your, the way in which you speak and carry yourself, and, how you live your life. That's the most compelling thing. And then that playfulness that's of a child's nature will mature. Consciousness will mature beyond, can mature beyond that stage by good example. And so they hear not just with the stick in your hand, but they hear what they see in you. That's the best. And yeah, I could give some examples, but I'll skip. When the body matures, ideally, correspondingly, consciousness will. The consciousness of a small child, boy or girl, is playful, and it's okay, because children play. They should have an opportunity to play where they're not hurting each other or themselves, but they play, and then as consciousness grows, then they're play. It's like Prabhupada describing. This is for example. When he was young, a little boy, his father worshipped a deity of Govinda, Radha Govinda. So Prabhupada saw and he wanted to imitate. So he asked his father. So his father got him a little Radha Govinda. And by imitating what his father did, he did. And probably as a child, it was playful. But, as his consciousness matured, it became more than playful. By, his good example of his pure devotee father and his pure devotee mother. I think we should end. You get your last question over there, and we're going to end.
Thank you, Maharaj. And thank you for giving us these lectures. I was thinking if someone will also ask this question, like, would you please come back and resume this series? That would be really helpful.
Everyone's going to forget what I did already. We'd have to go back and do it again.
Looking forward for
guarantee
that. I have a practical question, though. I will keep it short and quick. So, that slide you showed from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where tears flowing from eyes when you chant or take up the holy name. So, I was thinking from where I'm coming, where I started chanting first round and thinking 10 minutes is like, wow, 10 minutes too long. And I finished in 6 minutes and I think, okay, I can do 2 more rounds. And I progressed slowly to 4, 6, 8, 12, 16. And when we come to this stage of shelter or initiation, we give a vow of doing minimum 16 rounds.
Yeah.
And that minimum word is not in my mind at all. It always says, oh, 16, I ended my day. Even today I have 2 more rounds left. And I only think it's left is 2 more rounds. It's not like minimum I'm doing 16 rounds.
Okay, it's okay.
So the question is, how do we progress from where we are here in both quality and quantity?
By desire and practice. I mean, that was Paramakuruna's question to me today. How can I go beyond, for many years, 16, and that's it? His expression was, I don't have the desire. I mean, he has the ability to do all kinds of things, and he sends me these references about chanting, but he doesn't have the inspiration to chant an extra, just round number 17. But a desire and practice, and he'll get there. And it's not just quantitative, it's consciousness. It's a relationship, and it's because that relationship means so much. And if it doesn't mean so much, then it stays where it is. So what's behind? So to go further, what's behind? It's a relationship. And if it's not there, then it's not going to progress much. Okay, we're going to end. Srila Prabhupada ki.